Good morning, everybody. Today, I'm here in the Prairie Ag Partners grain handling facility in Oldham, South Dakota, and we're going to talk about hazardous energy control. My name is Eric Wallen. I'm a compliance assistant specialist out of the Sioux Falls area office in Region 8, and with me today are our three gentlemen.
Hi, I'm Shane McLeod, Prairie Ag Partners Oldham Location Manager.
I'm Jim DeSelvo. I also work at the Oldham location for Prairie Ag Partners. I am a grain handler.
I'm Greg D. Rink. I am with South Dakota OSHA Consultation at South Dakota State University.
Excellent. Today, these gentlemen are going to run through procedures it takes to lock out a bin prior to entry so they can do whatever task needs to be done in that bin. So with no further ado, let's go ahead and get started.
Hey Jim, the 440 sumped out, so we're gonna run out and get it locked out and make an entry so we can get the sweep running.
All right, I suppose we should go downstairs, get our air monitor and gear, and
Yep.
we'll go control our hazardous energy and lock out, tag out.
You bet.
Okay.
So Greg, they're gonna perform a lockout, tag out, and they're going to control the hazardous energy on a bin site. What are some of the things that they have to be looking for?
Well, we want to look for where any potential harm could come from and where all the stored energy is in the system. So the potential for electrical things starting up, that's easily remedied by putting a lock on our electrical disconnects. We can do that on the systems that bring grain in and out of the bins, the fans for instance. Anything that can start up that's going to affect what's going on in the bin, the sweep itself. Then we can also look for stored energy that might not be so easy to lock out, such as the conditions that are caused by out-of-condition grain. And so many of our accidents stem from having out-of-condition grain. That you always need to think about what those hazards are. There could be grain that's attached to the side of the bin when you're inside that could come down. There could be grain that's beyond the normal angle of repose for that grain. For instance, corn's about 23 degrees angle of repose. If you see it at any greater angle than that, you have some potential energy there. If that came loose, could cause an engulfment. So those are the things you want to be aware of, and you want to fix those problems before you're exposed to them. But the things that we can lock out are largely electrical and some other things too.
Yeah, so, and thinking about this, obviously when you're going to enter a bin, it's permit required confined space. And one of the key requirements of permit required confined space is to control hazardous energy. And so that's what these gentlemen are going to do here this morning. Before they enter the bin, they've got a lockout tagout program that is site specific to this organization, and they've got procedures that are specific to each of the bins and each of the structures that they're going to lock out. So let's go see how they're doing and see how this lockout tagout procedure is going.
Okay, today the reason that we're gonna do the lockout is to isolate the hazardous energy that we're going to do. The type of energy that we're going to have is electrical. The type of equipment for the bin we're going to lock out is going to be a top bin drag, bottom conveyor, and sweep, bin sweep. The location of the equipment on our facility is going to be on the south pit. The purpose for our lockout tagout in Part B is going to be to get the sweep ready for operation. The following employee that is going to do the lockout tagout procedures is yourself. Make sure you print and sign. And now we can go out and start going through our steps for a proper lockout. All right, now that we've effectively notified all the employees that are going to be involved in this lockout tagout procedure, Jim is going to go through and shut off the electricity at this point. now he's gonna go grab his 3 locks and 3 tags, and we're gonna head into the electrical room.
All right, Greg, where are we at in this process so far?
Well, Jim's de-energized the top conveyor, the leg, and the south reclaim conveyor is off as well. And he turned them off here on these switches. But this isn't where we're gonna do the lockout, because this is considered control circuitry, more prone to failure than the actual disconnects in the MCC room next door here. Jim has his tags filled out, it's identified, the owner of this tag, who put it on, and who's doing the entry, and what sort of work he's doing. He's gonna set up the power sweep in that bin. And he's the owner of this lock right now. Can you talk a little more about the locks?
Yeah, one more thing I want to add to this control panel. You know, Greg talked about you can't use the circuitry switches for control of energy because, you know, they can fail, right? The other thing that you want to think about, if Jim's in the bin and he's working away and somebody comes on shift and doesn't know that Jim's in the bin, doesn't know that there's something going on, and he comes in here and he says, oh, why is the receiving leg off? And he goes and flips that switch on, then Jim's in a world of hurt in that bin. So that's the other reason why you just don't rely on the switch gear here. You actually have to go lock it out. And like Greg said, you got your name and any remarks, any information, and the date that it was signed hooked to this lock. And this lock has one key, and each employee gets a key, right, that they put in their pocket. No managers get that key, nobody else gets that key. That employee is responsible for that key. So, and then additional, you know, Greg, you had mentioned if multiple people have to.
Yeah, someone might go in and help Jim clean out the bin later.
Yeah, so then you got a system like this where it's a multi-lock clasp. You go ahead and put it on the lock in there, and we'll show you that in a minute. And say there's 6 employees, there's 6 holes. You put 6 padlocks in here with 6 tags, right? Just like that, just like so. And then I'm gonna put mine on there, I'm gonna lock that, and then take that key. So you got multiple locks now. Every employee's got his own lock. So before that system can be re-energized, the very last employee to take the key out and take that lock off is the one that's gonna be able to de-energize it. So just a good point to remember, and it's, you know, over here they have a lockout tagout board, and they have a lockout tagout board in every area where they're gonna have to use it, so that's a good practice. Anything I'm missing, Greg?
I think if we do this right, nothing's gonna get turned on accidentally.
I like that idea. So here we're gonna go into the electrical room, and we're gonna see how Jim's doing on his lockout tagout procedure.
Next step is going to be isolate the energy. So we're gonna identify the energy. These are all labeled on the MCC. So we got our top conveyor, trip that one down. And then lock and tag that out. Okay. And then our bottom conveyor. And then our sweep conveyor. Alright, let's go out and test our lockouts to make sure that all of our affected areas are isolated and that we have no negative energy.
Okay.
Now Jim is going to turn on the energy to make sure that it is off. So if you can, try the top conveyor. Top conveyor does not light up. Try the reclaim conveyor. Reclaim conveyor does not light up. Now we're going to go outside and physically make sure that them conveyors are not running and the sweep is not running.
This tryout phase is very important because it assures everyone that it can't be energized.
Now that we have verified that none of our equipment outside is actually running, we can go ahead and continue on to our confined space entry procedures.
Since this lockout also involves a confined space entry, the guys are also going to go through their confined space entry procedure. They're going to do things like get rid of the 4-gas meter ready, make sure that's calibrated, get the gear on they need for entry. They're going to make sure they've established who's going to be the hole watch and be outside the bin and be in contact with the entrant. And those things will all be talked about at some other point during the training today, but just know that they're getting it done too.
Alright, we're done in there. Go ahead and power back up.
Alright, you're the one that's in control of it. Why don't you come down with your keys and unlock it and power it up?
Alright, got it.
Now that we're done with our bin entry, we're going to come and unlock all of our power sources. You got all your keys with you?
Yep.
Outstanding.
We got all the tools out and everything.
All the tools out, all the guards are in place.
Yep.
We're ready to put our energy back on.
Heat. There we go.
Here, I can have that one. As you can see, when he's powering these on, he's turning his face and extremities away, so if there would be a possibility of an arc flash, he wouldn't take the blunt of it. Alright, now that we got it all unlocked, let's go make sure everything's up and running.
Okay.
All right, Greg, so let's wrap up this training session today. We're here at this cooperative and we're talking about lockout tagout, and what Jim and his supervisor did this morning, they controlled the hazardous energy in that bin so they could get in there and do some sweep work, and then exited the bin and released the hazardous energy, and they went back to work. Did you see any problems with any of the things they did this morning?
They did a great job. We have to control those hazards. By regulation, we have to do it in our workplaces when we have an employee-employer relationship. But it's also important to know that we need to bring these things home and use them on the farm when we get the opportunity to take the precautions so something doesn't start up accidentally. Tragedies happen that way, especially around grain bins. And we want to prevent engulfments and prevent injuries from caused by our mechanical equipment that can happen in a bin.
Yeah, that's for sure. You know, agricultural communities are all small towns, and everybody's family, and everybody knows everybody. When a tragedy happens, everybody remembers that. So the best thing that we can do, and the best thing that you guys can do out there, is take care of yourselves. That's the most important thing with lockout tagout, is you're keeping an eye on yourself and keeping yourself safe and secure. Do not do things that would require you to cut corners. All right, before we close out, I just want to take a moment to thank Prairie Ag Partners for allowing us to come on their facility. They showed us around. They've got a magnificent facility here, and it's very clean and it runs very efficiently. And to the gentleman behind us here who showed us how the proper way to lock out, take out hazardous energy takes place, we really appreciate it. And again, thank you everybody. Have a great day.